Welcome back to another episode of the Giant Topic Podcast. I am your host, Christian Cruz, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get the win over the New York Giants tonight, 22-9, thus bringing the New York Giants to 0-3 on the year. And just what an embarrassing performance. Let's get this out the way. What an embarrassing performance by the New York Giants today on prime time. And honestly, it starts at the top. It starts with John Mara. You could make a valid argument, and there were many valid arguments last offseason that the New York Giants should have moved on from Joe Schoen and Brian Dable. The signs were on the wall. The writing was on the wall, right? And ultimately, John Mara, Steve Tisch, they decided to run it back one more year with Joe Schoen and Brian Dable, as well as Mike Kafka and Shane Bowen. And we have what we have on the field, right? We have an undisciplined team, a team that can't tackle, a team that seems like year in and year out they are unprepared and they start off slow. We have a team that lacks fight and a team that lacks fire as an organization. And to me, it's malpractice. It's really embarrassing to see year in and year out the Giants organization get this fan base hyped up, having them believe that this team is taking steps forward, whether that's with big splash signings in free agencies or big name draft selections. It doesn't matter. It's the same product on the field. It's the same product on the field. And at some point, if you're John Mara and Steve Tisch, it doesn't matter what coordinators we've had in here. It doesn't matter what players we drafted and how high we drafted them and how highly graded they were. At the end of the day, what is the common denominator? What's the common denominator here? It is Joe Schoen, this front offense, as well as Brian Dable and the rest of these coordinators. They are putting a bad product on the field. Now, don't get me wrong. Were there certain things in this game that I left feeling a little bit positive about? Yes, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But as a whole, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would be hard pressed to say that this is a team that shows any fight, a team that shows any fire. I would be very hard pressed to say that. And when you have a front office that knows they have an injury prone aging kicker in Graham Gano, who you have dealt with numerous times throughout the years to show that he is not only unreliable due to the fact that he deals with injuries, but he deals with them at the most inopportune times, right? I believe this is the second time within the last 2 years, potentially three, I believe it's 2 years, where Graham Gano gets injured with a groin injury in pre-game warm-ups. It is insane to me. And on top of that, you don't bring in any competition for your aging injury-prone kicker? And you have your punter, Jamie Gillian, kicking the ball? Like, what are we doing here? Seriously, like, what are we doing here? And then it's so frustrating watching this Giants team where other teams can go through what the New York Giants go through, whether it's injuries, whether it's bad offensive line play, whether it's lack of depth at certain positions. It doesn't matter. Other teams find ways and they function, and they could, some of them, even come out with wins. It doesn't matter. The New York Giants don't do that. They don't do that. It's so frustrating seeing other bad teams. Yes, because the New York Giants are a bad team. It's frustrating watching other bad teams able to score points, move the ball down the field, playing 2025 football, right? And the New York Giants are stuck in 1925. It's embarrassing what we're seeing on the field. And I was one of the few people on social media that was saying that the New York Giants could potentially win this game if the defensive line gets home, if they're able to create pressure, if they're able to score points. The Giants should be able to win this game. The Chiefs were not able to stop the run in their two first games this year. On top of that, when faced with pressure, Patrick Mahomes did not look good. Their leading receiver going into this game had 109 yards. Like, what are we doing here? And we roll out this bland, old offense that's beyond inefficient I mean, it's just embarrassing what we saw today from this team, both on the offense and defensive side of the ball today. So, looking at the offense, right? Just a dink and dunk offense, and I get it. It's a mixture of Spags. I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to Steve Spagnuolo, right? Where he was able to essentially shut down Malik Neighbors and force Russell Wilson to make plays to his other receivers or running backs, and told Russell Wilson essentially, you're going to have to beat us by taking away your number one option. We are going to test you because we don't think that you can do that. And honestly, they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong at all. I mean, Russell Wilson looked uncomfortable back there. Even despite the offensive line looking better with Andrew Thomas, even though Andrew Thomas had limited snaps and then they inserted Marcus Bowe in there, the offense as a whole just looked bland and just you're not going to win games dinking and dunking and playing the style of offense that the New York Giants consistently roll out there. And I don't know what it's going to take for this team to realize that. I don't know what it's going to take. And ultimately, again, it goes back to John Mara because he didn't want Brian Dable calling plays. We got Mike Kafka calling plays. This is what you get. This is what you get. And going back to Russell Wilson, despite Russell Wilson trying to be aggressive, I mean, when he could, Russ looked bad out there. Russell Wilson looked bad out there. I mean, I understand. Listen, I will never tell a fan to how to fan, right? Fan how you fan. I don't get upset when I see all of these negative Giants fans online going at this Giants team consistently year in and year out because there's nothing to really be positive when it comes with this organization whatsoever. So I get it, right? But this team is a very bad team. I mean, I did not like the play calling for what I saw with Mike Kafka today at all. I mean, how could you? How could you be happy with what you saw today offensively? It's a joke. It is a joke. Nights like tonight are the reason why guys get fired. Now, I'm not saying that John Mara is going to fire any of these guys anytime soon. I mean, hell, it's possible if they go 0-4 on the season going towards the Saints, but I think ultimately they're going to ride it out until they feel comfortable to start Jackson Dart, and then they'll go from there. But defensively, I mean, you're able to create pressures, but you're not getting home. You're having issues with tackling. Again, I don't understand. It's like these guys are allergic to tackling. I don't understand it. Like it's beyond frustrating. It's the same issues with this defense. It is the same issues between bad tackling, between not being able to stop the run, between playing undisciplined. Drew Phillips, I saw a tweet and it honestly made me chuckle, right? Where someone had said that Drew Phillips is the Jameis Winston of quarterbacks. And as high as I am on Drew Phillips, that is one of the most accurate depictions of Drew Phillips. I mean, it is spot on because there are moments where you're just like, okay, this is a really good corner. He has, he shows flashes here and there. If he could take, a couple steps forward, he could be a very good corner in this league. And then there's other plays where you're just like, this man can't cover, he can't cover nothing. He can't cover anything. And at this point, put in Nick Jones. Like, what are we doing here? It's just, again, it is beyond frustrating. It's beyond frustrating seeing this team play Abdul Carter at middle linebacker, your third overall pick, because you don't address the linebacker position. You don't provide any quality depth behind your two starters. And don't get me wrong, I understand that Darius Muasau is dealing with the concussion. I understand that you weren't expecting Micah McFadden to deal with an injury, and I'm hoping that he comes back with a speedy recovery. But you need to prepare better for these situations, right? It's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating. And again, this was another week where penalties were a killer as well. The Chiefs had 7 penalties on the game. The Giants had 4, if I have this correct here. Just an undisciplined team. I mean, It's frustrating. It is beyond frustrating watching this team, and I will continue to watch this team. But Jesus, it is very frustrating. Um, let's try to talk about some positives with this game. It's going to be hard, but let's try talking about some positives with this game. Cam Scatterbo brings a lot of juice and a lot of energy to this New York Giants offense. And it's something that we need. And it's something that they're going to really need to rely on, especially with Tyrone Tracy being out of the lineup. Really hoping that it's nothing serious. He was pointing to his arm and his shoulder area. Um, and you're really hoping that, he's okay. Um, it's really unfortunate because he looked fairly decent and fairly efficient prior to the injury, but man, really hoping that Tyrone Tracy's okay. But Cam Scatterbo, I mean, he's just different. I mean, he is a human pinball. Like I said, he provides the necessary juice and energy that this offense needs, whether that's on the ground, whether that's through the air. He had over 125 total yards today. It was nice to see that. Don't get me wrong, but that was really it from the offensive side of the ball. I can't say much outside of that. I thought the Giants' defense, Brian Burns. I mean, listen, Brian Burns is the lone bright spot right now on this defense for me. I get really excited to see him as a Broward County native myself. I'm very excited to see Brian Burns having the best career start so far in his career. Took down their right tackle like it was nothing. I uploaded a clip on my Twitter. Brian Burns was just doing Brian Burns things out there. Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon is, in my opinion, playing very well this year. And I hate that it took drafting Abdul Carter to light that fire under Kayvon, because we would see spurts with Kayvon where we say, okay, this guy could be one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. He just needs to put it together. And, he looks fairly good in the run. There's moments where he looks good getting to the quarterback, but it's just not consistent, right? Now, this year, he seems to have turned the corner a little bit. Maybe that's just me, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Kayvon Thibodeau, and I think the New York Giants, personally, I think he's someone to keep an eye on. Whether that's them extending him, whether that's if they go, I don't know, 0-6, somehow if they lose to the Saints, and they go 0-5, 0-6, I mean, I could see him being a player that they look to move on from as well, getting some sort of capital from him. Though that's not what I would want to do. Let me just state that. I think the New York Giants should try to retain their good players, but hey, maybe that's just me. Um, yeah, just not a good game from the New York Giants. We saw some scares tonight, whether that was with Malik Neighbors taking that big hit to the head, Russell Wilson throwing. I mean, like I said, I appreciated him being an aggressive quarterback and trying to, target downfield, but just nearly taking out your best wide receiver. I'm not going to say it was a hospital ball, excuse me, but yeah, I'm sure all of MetLife held their breath on that one. We saw some with Brian Burns. He had a little bit of a scare, but he was able to go. Saw Graham Gano getting some kicks in as well, coming out of the half. But ultimately, the New York Giants are just a bad team. They're a bad team. The chants for Jackson Dart are going to get louder. We saw some snaps from him today. We have yet to see him throw a pass in the regular season. We've only seen him do some RPOs, and we'll see. We'll see when he'll get the start. If the New York Giants lose next week against the Chargers, I expect them to go to Jackson Dart against the Saints. That's probably going to be your easiest game going forward on the schedule. And if at that point you feel like it's time to move on and start the Jackson Dart era, by all means, I think that's a good game to start. Um, but like I said, very frustrating. Um, Not a lot of positives from this game, and ultimately, you know, we knew going into this year this was going to be a very brutal schedule, and I thought and still think personally that they're going to win some more games down the stretch. We'll see, um, but just very frustrating. Uh, Fans looking dejected in the stands. Um, it's a joke. I'll say that much. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll do another video as well, having it a little bit more in depth. I'll definitely do that for you guys today. Um, but until then, we'll see you guys in the next video. Don't hit. Sorry. But yeah, so let us know your thoughts below. What were some of your thoughts from the game today? How did you guys feel? Are you on the Fire Dable train as well as Joe Shane? Are you not? Where do you stand with that? I really want to hear what you guys have to say because it's not looking good for the New York Giants. It's not looking good at all, and you gotta hope it gets better. And I don't really think it will. But like, subscribe, let us know your thoughts below, and yeah, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.